everyone. So I am expanding on my 10 question blog posts which I've done in the past, and I'm taking them to the video, and this is my first one. So I connected with Lauren, who is your eco assistant, through Instagram eco community, which I love being a part of, and asked if she'd be willing to meet with me and have a chat about how she got into VA work, how she ended up specialising in helping ecopreneurs, and just how she ended up in Italy as a Canadian, and all the things that she does in her own life to try and be more eco-friendly. And we just basically put the world to right for the whole time that we were talking as much as we could. And so this was a fantastic interview and something I was really pleased to be a part of when I recorded this a couple of weeks ago. So I hope you find it interesting, I hope you enjoy, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. And equally so, if anyone would like to join in and feature on my vlog and on my blog to talk about their own life, to talk about stuff they're doing in their lives or their business to try and be more eco-friendly or more holistic and well-being focused, then I would love to talk to you. I'd love to connect with you and I'd love to feature you. Here's my first one. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you later. Lovely to meet you, and thank you for giving me the time to talk to you. It's always good. I mean, I think this is like the exciting space which I'm kind of moving into now, is like the collaborative space with like-minded individuals, and maybe getting into doing interviews. I've done interviews on the blog obviously so far, but this is my first doing an interview with someone as a vlog, which will also be a blog. So it's kind of working out like all the pros and cons. So but that's what I love, is like we're all supporting each other, and I really feel like it's something really great which has come out of 2020, is I feel like I've really connected with this eco community through Instagram. And it just seems to be getting stronger and stronger, and more people like connecting. And it really gives you hope, doesn't it? Because it just makes you think like, oh, hey, you know, other people care about this stuff too. And actually maybe we will change the world. I don't know. Ever the optimist.
A lot of people care, but again, a lot of people don't care. So
yeah,
you know,
I mean, I think fundamentally what we're doing, like doing all those little granular changes, trying to make the right, my sort of thing is conscious consumerism. So like just be aware of what you're buying and think about, you know, you might not win all the battles every time you make a purchase, but try and win one battle each time, and try and think about, you know, where was it made? What material was it made from? How is it made? You know, and
for sure.
There's so many like grey areas and stuff. I mean, one thing which has really come to light a lot in the last couple of months is the whole thing around the fashion industry, and you posted that thing. Yeah.
No, it's really horrendous. Personally, I don't well, I've shopped secondhand all my life. Like I was brought up that way. I was the youngest cousin, so I was always given hand-me-downs. Like probably in my early 20s, I just realized, oh, I don't want to be buying new stuff. Some things, okay, like I buy new. But now in the last year or more, year and a half, I've bought maybe 3 or 4 new items.
Yeah, I mean, the ironic thing is actually when I was a student, I was well into secondhand furniture. I mean, I'm the youngest of 3 girls anyway. So in terms of like hand-me-down clothes, my mum did it really well, to be honest. She'd keep all my sister's stuff in the loft, and then we'd bring it down and it'll be like a clothes party. And we'd go through and like twirl around in skirts and stuff. And I have really happy memories of that. And just it being kind of like, she always posed it as, you don't have to wear all this stuff, but pick your favorites kind of thing.
Yeah, and take care of it. then.
And I think, you know, that's a great thing about this space is like just getting that attitude into people's heads that maybe if it secondhand is just part of your picture, that's still helping massively.
Yeah, we have a market here, which right now we're not going to because we're kind of in a lockdown, but we would go to it. It's an open air market and they travel around Italy, but they have a lot of used clothing.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of used clothing. Like that's where I get all my stuff now. Anyway, I took my girlfriend there and she was like really hesitant to touch the stuff. Found, I think, 3 items that she really liked. And she the whole time, oh my God, I can't believe I found this stuff. And it all fit her perfectly. It was, I think it might have been new, and sometimes they get like overstock and they sell it really cheap. But
I mean, this is the crazy thing is you get brand new with tags on eBay and in charity shops sometimes, and you're just like, there are a whole category of people who just buy to such an extent that they have a whole bunch of stuff still with the tags on in their wardrobe.
Yeah, it's crazy. And she was amazed. And I said, yeah, this is what I've been telling you.
Yeah.
This is what
I mean, to be fair, even stuff like shopping at TK Maxx is still helping.
That's
because
it. TK Maxx.
TK Maxx, because you're buying the seconds which other people aren't going to buy, or sale shopping. In theory, again, what is happening to those clothes if they don't go in the sale? You know, so it's actually worth questioning like these sorts of things and going like, okay, so I'm on a budget, but there are still options available to me. You know, this whole movement towards like, even though we're obsessed with social media and that's what we all do nowadays, it's fine to wear the same outfit twice.
Oh my God.
And it's actually really, really, you know, that needs to be publicized that that's okay.
I was having this conversation with another, I think she's an eco graphic designer online. And because she posted something that said like normalize wearing the same outfit. I'm like, yeah, I wear the same outfit every day.
Yeah.
I mean, we're now in a lockdown. I don't have to be anywhere.
Exactly. If I get on my pajamas, it's a good day.
Yeah. So no,
totally... I basically do because I have to take the kids to school. But that's
I mean, and even if you were driving, you could still be wearing your pajamas. No one would know. Of course, it's a whole other conversation. Is just the accessibility of living in an eco-friendly way.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of eco-friendly things, they're just people's normal life. And I feel like living here, for example, many people just live eco-friendly without knowing it. And I think many people could learn from that. And
I think that's the thing, is it's traditionalism. And in Italy, you probably get more of that because people are more into that way of cooking and they're very like accustomed to like their way of cooking through the generations. That's my understanding, obviously. Anyway,
it's a strange, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of consumerism here. McDonald's is like fast foods become a thing. We have one drive-through and it's the first drive-through I think in our region or something. But you know, and Italians love, I guess humans in general are obsessed with bottled water. And my whole Italian family, my husband's family, everyone drinks bottled water, like everybody. And so when I go to their homes and I drink out of the tap because there's no other option, they're like, oh my God, because they...
See, I've always wondered about this because whenever I've gone on holiday to Europe, it's always the done thing to drink bottled water. But is it actually that the tap water is any less safe than in the UK?
No,
it isn't. Well, it's just a cultural thing.
I guess it would depend where you are. Here, the tap water is fine, and also we have aqueducts everywhere, so we have free flowing water. In my town, there are at least, I can think of 7 or 8 points where there are just these ancient fountains where you can get drinkable water, potable water. And they're good. And so people go there and fill up their bottles, and their plastic bottles. But yeah, they're here. I mean, back home, I know people drank bottled water, but
Yeah.
I never experienced at such a rate as people do here.
I don't know if you saw a documentary, because it was British, it was on the BBC, but it was called War on Plastic. And that was kind of like a bit of a game changer for me. And they went into all different things which were a problem. But one of the things they kind of targeted was lorry drivers. They gave them all like free reusable water bottles and challenged them to go into the petrol stations they were stopping at and saying, can I fill up my water bottle at your tap? And they were like running this campaign to kind of get them to do that. And they discovered that actually you can do that, but you don't really think to do that, do you? I mean, even if you're driving somewhere on holiday and if you stopped at a petrol station or like a service station, you wouldn't think to go and ask them to refill your bottle. But I mean, one last point on it though, I do like drinking out of glass bottles. So
yeah,
so that's but I do have a bit of a bugbear. I hate if you ask for water at a table in a restaurant, I'll make a point of saying I want a jug of tap water, please. And I don't know if that's even an option in Italy. Do they allow you?
They don't. No. So if you ask for water, first of all, you generally have to buy water. Yeah, generally, right? Or like they'll ask, do you want water? And it's free. And so, but here they don't ask. I mean, they ask, but you pay for it. We only get water if it comes in a glass bottle, because generally, and this is great, I think all places should do this. Generally, when you get it in a glass bottle, these bottles get reused. So they get sent to a place that sanitizes them.
That's fine, isn't it?
Them back.
So, I mean, we do that in traditional pubs. We'll do that with juice bottles, like the little mini juice bottles. So if you get a mixer drink with the juice in, then often you'll use that system. And it's that kind of thing that really frustrates me, is that was the traditional way of doing things. And like, if you jump back to like the 1950s, 1960s, you used to get like 5p back if you took your old drinks bottle to your corner shop and got it refilled. And I'm just like, well, why? You know, and then that's the thing, is like there's pockets, I think it's in Sweden, where you can use your bottles as currency towards the trains. And I'm like, that's awesome. Why aren't we doing that? You know, but it just takes some entrepreneur to actually go ahead and do something like that. And then it just becomes part of the structure of society. And then, but I'm just like, oh, please, can we just roll out these kind of things again?
These Scandinavian countries are so ahead of us in so many ways. And like, it's a minefield, but
it is. But I think you just have to come back and just, what can I control? And you know, I kind of, this was like the narrative of the last interview I did, was kind of like control the controllables, keep controlling the controllables, because that's what you can do. And you can get really bogged down in, oh God, it's so depressing, I can't control any of this big stuff. I mean, to be honest, since lockdown and basically the pandemic, I've barely been into an actual physical charity shop, with the exception of the weekend I went away to Bath, and that was amazing, because go to charity shops in rich areas, and it's
I know, when I lived in Brighton,
I got so much nice stuff. I was like, oh my God, I spent 50 quid, but I literally got 20 tops, and like, they were just all lovely, amazing quality brands, the kind of stuff which I aspire to.
When it comes to food shopping here, we have no bulk food stores. So like, I'm using more plastic, and I still try to reduce that, but like, we can't buy things that aren't in plastic. And so I'm trying to just not be so hard on myself, because I find every time we're checking out, I'm like, and I tell my husband every time we leave, and I think he's getting tired of it, I'm like, oh, I hate this. if we were back home, if we're in Canada, I could buy all this stuff at Bulk Barn. We have this bulk food store. You can get everything bulk.
And is that package free or?
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not like an eco store. They've been around forever. And like, but you can find, and it's not always like the best quality thing, but you can find everything bulk. And I love
that's amazing. I think the thing is, I've started getting more into the online space. I mean, in terms of clothes, I've always bought on eBay anyway. That's one of my favorites. And Facebook selling, Facebook Marketplace. I mean, it's particularly good for kids' clothes because you can get like a job lot of all the stuff in the next size, which with twins, you know, that is 100% the way forward. I'll always look for secondhand first. I've also got quite a lot into vintage this year, which I knew about.
Yes, vintage. Depop is good too. And actually, there's one here we have called Armadio Verde, like green closet. And it's not as good as vintage because I think vintage's more like popular and geared towards a younger generation. But Armadio Verde, you get points for everything that you donate, and then you can put circular economy within the website. So you can put those points towards another piece of clothing or a bag or shoes.
Well, there is like certain schemes which are run. I mean, I know Marks and Spencer's has partnered with Oxfam. I don't know if you've heard of those two brands, but Marks and Spencer's is one of our biggest like department stores, but like proper traditional.
Oxfam charity shop.
Yeah, and then Oxfam is basically the biggest charity shop we've got. And they did a situation where if you donated an item of clothing, then you got a £5 voucher or something back towards what you spend on new clothes. And they're donating, but they're also giving back. And that's what came up. I mean, I work for a postgraduate university, and we run a course on corporate sustainability. And the guy who ran that course always used to highlight, you know, this is the kind of thing which needs to happen going forward. It is worthwhile doing like these granular things, these things which you're doing in your own life, 100%. But I think in order to get the big changes happening, it needs to come from legislation, from the governments, and it needs to actually come down to subsidizing the right way of doing things. And the thing is, I know obviously we've got a pandemic going on, so obviously their priorities are maybe not in this space right now, but fundamentally they have subsidized things throughout history, which they want to get behind. So they do have the power to do that. So things like organic farming, you know, I don't know if you've watched that documentary Kiss the Ground yet, but it's on your list. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. But again, you need to encourage the farmers to do it. I mean, that program was made in America, and they were just saying that, you know, at the moment, the chemical farming strategy, they get paid, they get a guaranteed pay through using the chemical version. So those are the kind of things which you need to switch. Actually, it's going to be beneficial to the environment, beneficial to the economy, beneficial to everything if the governments make those switches. But at least, you know, Biden's in now, so yes. There's hope. There's hope back in the White House. Hooray!
There's hope for at least 4 years. We have some sanity in the Oval Office. My God, that was a nail biter of a week. Wow.
It's just, I mean, don't even get me started on Trump. I won't get political.
A Trumpless zone. You know, I've been feeling really, I think, light because I haven't been paying attention, but I just feel like no one's really talking about him anymore.
It's hopefully over for at least the time. Right, let's go on to the questions before we get to massively sidetrack. If you can start by telling us a bit about yourself, your background, and how you ended up coming from Canada and ended up living in Italy.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lauren, your eco assistant. My background, I have no formal education. I finished high school and I went right into minimum wage working sector. I lived at home till I was 28. I mean, somewhat back and forth. And I was always a hard worker. I always, I never liked working for other people. And I think deep down inside, I didn't think any of it was fair. But my best job, like my favorite job I ever had, I was working at the Days Inn, which is like a chain, I guess an American hotel chain. And I was just a housekeeper. And I really liked it. I was treated really well. About 6 years ago, I had just finished being a housekeeper out in Jasper, Alberta, in the mountains. I didn't know what I was doing with my life, and I signed up to be an au pair,
How
which is
cool.
like, yeah, it's like a nanny. You live with the family. And I hadn't even put up a picture. I hadn't put up any information, just that I was female, Canadian, looking to go to either Italy, Greece, or some other country. You got to pick 3. And before I knew it, before I even woke up the next day without putting my information on, I had loads of messages from Italian mothers.
Wow.
So they were like, when can we get on a call? What, we want an English speaker. So I had a couple of interviews with mothers here in Italy. I had a woman connect with me who said, hey, I really want to get on a call. I feel like you'd be a really good fit for my son and I, and let's do this. We met, we got along, and next thing I know, I'm on a plane to come over here.
Wow.
The biggest.
That's amazing.
The biggest blind date of my life.
So how old was the kid?
He was 4 at the time.
Yeah.
My 3 months here in Italy, I really didn't do much with him. I was really just encouraged to explore, and I hung out with the mom a lot, and we'd go out and have a wild time. And I met my now husband that summer. And then, but a big reason she wanted a mother tongue is because she would be going to Brighton. So I moved with them to Brighton. She's going to be teaching at the university there. So we moved together, and that's really when my job started, because they needed me to.
Because then she was started working.
Yeah, well, that for sure. And also just needing my assistance with day-to-day life around English-speaking people.
Yeah.
I
think that's fascinating. And I think that's, such a great way, if you're in that space where you don't know what you're doing with your life, and I can definitely see the appeal of that.
It was a special relationship. I'm still close with them. Actually, we rent the apartment of her, like her old apartment. So to make a long story short, I met my husband, and we did the back and forth thing for 5 years. And then last October, I made the decision to come over, and we got married on the 14th of December. So it was hard. I mean, my parents weren't here. My family wasn't here. I kind of wish we'd eloped. It was a really sweet day, but it didn't fully represent me.
No.
But isn't that, no one's ever happy with their wedding, right?
Yeah.
So, but it was.
So what was your level of Italian before you sort of came? Were you speaking French from Canada, and then was that helpful, or?
Well, okay, yeah, we took French because it was mandatory, but I really didn't. It was only helpful in the sense the languages are very different, but it was helpful in the sense that there's like masculine, feminine, things like this, and they're both Latin languages. But no, when I came here, I'm still not fluent. Also, just because I'm like a lazy language learner. It amazes me that other people can
can speak multiple languages, and I'm always in awe of them, and I just think, wow, I wish I could do that, you know. And like literally, and Italian is just so beautiful.
You can. It's funny how you think a language is beautiful. I still think Italian's beautiful, but then when you understand it, it just feels like any other language. So I think there's a nice mystery when you don't know Italian.
Yeah.
But now I can speak. My fluency is probably like 50%, but my understanding is probably like 90%. Yeah, and well, the child that I was an au pair for, so when I met him, he had zero understanding of English. I think he hated me because he was just like, who are you? Why are you in my house? You're speaking this weird sounds. But then he spent a weekend with his cousins, and they speak like, they're from Sweden or somewhere, and they speak 5 or 6 languages, and they were like 5, 6, and 7, because their mom was Afrikaan, their dad was Italian, they lived in Sweden, and so there was English, Swedish, Afrikaan.
Wow.
So
just blows your mind that kids can like capture that. I'm just like, oh my God.
It's amazing. And I think when Alessandro saw me, because he's a smart kid, like one of the smartest kids, he was only 4, but when he saw me chatting and like being close with his cousins because we knew English, he started to make an effort and he started to be closer to me. And when we went to Brighton, although it was a really difficult time in a lot of ways for him, he in 6 months was fluent because he went to a Montessori school and he had no option. He had to speak English.
Yeah. Amazing.
And now he's fluent. Like he doesn't speak it. I don't see him. Obviously, we're like not really seeing people, but he's a teenager now and like he doesn't want to speak, but he knows it. And he's just like, he was always a super intelligent kid and picked it up like that. So
amazing.
That's the story. That's why I'm here. And I don't know how long I'll be here for, but for now.
You're soaking it in.
Trying to. Yeah, not much soaking going on because we're just at home all the time.
Okay, question number 2. Where are we? How and why did you decide to set up as a VA?
Good question, Jill. Well, a year ago right now, I had no idea what the hell a VA was. Yeah. Like a year ago now, I had just gotten married. We literally moved in here like the day we got married, and then we had to get all my residency stuff figured out, still doing that. And then I got a job teaching because I do teach as well. I was just there to empower children's English learning. It was interesting and it was fun. Like I was getting into it. And then of course the last week of February, first week of March, things were getting weird about germs. Things were getting weird about sanitizing everything. I took a day off because I felt ill. Who knows? I might have had COVID, but whatever it was wasn't, bad. But I took a day off. I got home and Luigi's like, oh, you're probably not going back tomorrow. I was like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, well, they want to shut the school down for 2 weeks. It's not official. I'm like, okay, the rest. That happened. I never heard a peep from the school, like for 2 months, nothing. They didn't ask me to teach online. They didn't do anything. And so I thought, wow, I was able to work for 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week doing lessons like this, but it was nothing. What
does your husband do?
He's a Renaissance man. He actually founded like a magazine. Okay. Here, that it's about video games, but it's more like a spiritual and existential discussion about video games. He's a writer, he's a podcaster, he's a child care expert man.
Cool.
I don't know. We both just work for ourselves, and like he's just like passion driven. He's a very passion driven guy. So but we had actually both been working at schools at that point, and both lost our jobs. So you have to reevaluate. I've always wanted to be my own boss. I've always been looking up ways to make money online, but I wasn't sure how without getting into like scammy stuff. A young woman that I'd worked with in Jasper like 6 years ago, I was like, oh, I want to check where she's at, what she's doing. And so I checked out her page and I read, oh, I'm a virtual assistant. I thought, what is this?
What is this?
I want to know more. So I messaged her, tell me about your work. So
yeah.
What do you do? What is this? And then I just became like obsessed with watching videos, researching courses, enrolling in a course, which I know is one of your questions after this. And I just got really interested by it. I thought it was great. And then, so yeah, I took a course and I got into it. I'd never really had a passion before. I never really felt if I wasn't working, I was just watching Netflix, or I was just wasting time, waiting for my life to start, waiting to travel somewhere, whether it was here or Canada, and just like wasting my time all the time. But then something switched, and now I can't not be watching stuff about my business, about how to
That's so cool.
Improve.
I think, the older I get, the more I kind of look at stuff which lights you up and energy. I'm very much into sort of like yoga and everything like that, and that sort of side of things. And I like the idea of energy. I like the idea of like gleaning from the earth and paying attention to nature and paying attention to what gives you joy and stuff like that. And I love the sort of personal development space as well. I love all that.
And that's kind of what happens, is that with working online, it really snowballs.
Yeah.
And there are just so many ways to work online.
Yeah.
And so right now I'm talking to I have a lot of girlfriends who have been coming to me. They're depressed, or they're just like, I'm unfulfilled, or like, oh, I have to go to work today, I don't want to go. And I'm like, there's another way.
Yeah.
Like, and I honestly think, because I spent probably a month of the first lockdown just like wallowing in fear, like most people, and lots still are, and feeling anxiety and feeling like a lazy tub of lard, because just like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here and eat. I mean, I still do that, let's be honest. But then
if you're allowed.
Yeah. But then when
that is the excuse, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But then when I really like switched my focus into the VA stuff, I don't want to say that I like necessarily felt just happier automatically, but I was like not paying attention to the other stuff. So now I'm trying to help my girlfriends, and not just girls, just friends in general, my people, my family. I'm like, hey, there's stuff you can do online. They're like, well, I don't want to be a virtual assistant. I'm not really into social media. I'm like, it's not just that. I have a friend who she really loves research and she really loves organization. And I said, oh my God, people will pay you.
I mean, this is the thing which is so exciting about this space, and I've only sort of really been looking into it properly for my own purposes recently. I've been blogging for sort of 10 years and everything. I've just got to this point where I was like, I really want to make a sustainable income. I really do want to leave the corporate world at some point. And what I like the version of the VA which I'm reading about, and what really excites me is similar to what you're talking about, is that it's about capturing people's blind spots. And what's so exciting about it is it has the potential to completely crush the hierarchy of the corporate world, because I might have a VA to help me out with my blind spots or the things I don't have time to do. And then someone might employ me to help with their business on the bits which they don't know how to do.
That's the
and
thing.
We're all probably paying each other a similar rate, but we're all just working in community and helping each other. And, you know, to me, that seems like the way forward and really exciting. And I guess the first time I was opened up to the concept of all this sort of style of working was actually on the recommendation of a book of a friend who also blogs. Have you heard of the multi-hyphen method?
No.
So I'm going to send you that link, because it's awesome, and it's on Audible as well, so you can listen to it if you prefer. But it's just talking about the future of careers and how everyone's a multi-hyphenate. And so you're a this, but you're hyphen that, hyphen this, hyphen that. You're not just like even within VA, you're not just a VA, you know, you're a VA, but you're also a this and you're also a that. And she's talking about how, you know, this shouldn't just be for people who have kids, this should be for everyone. And the thing is, the current generation, we don't know what retirement is going to look like. It's probably not going to be traditional, the way it was for our parents, you know, 100%. It's not going to be like, oh, everything shuts down at 70 or everything shuts down at 65. And then I have 20, 30 years of going to a golf club.
Well, the thing is that, first of all, I don't want to wait till that age, because I don't know what hopefully my health is good. I plan on taking care of myself. But like, no, the whole idea of retirement as it is right now is really antiquated. Super antiquated. Like, I talk to my mom daily and she's like, I'm waiting to retire. And then she's like, Lauren, you should invest, which I agree on. But she also is like, you know, should invest in your retirement. I'm like, well, first of all, I mean, I'm doing that in a sense. I'm doing that with my work, because I don't think that retirement's going to look like what you think it looks like now when I'm your age. Like, it's going to be a completely different landscape. And I'm excited about that. I think
this book made me actually feel excited about the prospect of like our generation's life. Not for the first time, but just, you know,
a different
it just like opened to my eyes to how it could be, and the fact that if you potentially had all these income streams, you know, because my main goal, rather than saving for a pension, even though I do contribute to a pension, but is to pay off the house by the time I retire. Because fact of the matter is, if you manage to pay off your house, then you've got rid of your biggest bill.
You're good.
So then you have a bit more flexibility financially. So then you can probably cut down on working naturally, because you don't have to work as much. Because you've got rid of the biggest bill. I think that's, you know, a really relevant point. I don't know. I just think, I hope that there's options and there's things, and I would love to work for myself. The thing is, it can be continuous though. And I think this thing as well is like, we're being brought up by a generation who, you know, they were told you have to have a career and you have to stick in that career and you have to work it 40 years and then you retire and that's like the end and then you die. You know, it's like,
it's very
but
linear.
Actually our generation can go, hey, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but then it's finding that balance. And I know, like, I've now talked around this subject a lot now without actually getting to the point of how do you make that transition.
So I think my transition would be completely different from yours, but I think that if you set a goal for yourself of when you want to make that full transition, that gives you time to get all your ducks in a row with your own company. I think that's probably where you'd want to go with that. And there's stuff you could be doing and connections that you're making that will help you on that road. But like, everyone's transition looks different. And just imagine where you'd like to see yourself at the end of 2021. Working for yourself is highly freeing. Of course, like I said before, I'm not a mother. I'm not a mother of twins. I don't have very many responsibilities at this point in my life. So it was easy to like make this decision because I was in a place like financially where I could invest in these things, and we were locked down. So I could like have the time to do this stuff. So I feel blessed that I can do that and that I still can, because we're still locked down. Look at that. And but yeah, it's just
I mean, the fact that you have captured that opportunity when you had it is, you know, great that you did that when you did that as well.
Finally, I was like, oh, I can do something right now, and I can just learn something and keep like getting my skills higher and higher.
Yeah.
And people will pay for that because people don't want to do these things.
I mean, the thing which excites me is if I can establish myself in the first instance with the skill set which I currently have, which is actually of value, I believe, you know, the whole blogging side, social media side, organization, that sort of thing, then, you know, if I make myself a success at this, then I can then get into the space and have money to do training, to do stuff like graphic design. And then I can offer that. And that can be part of the package too. And I could maybe do yoga teacher training at some point, and that can be part of the package too. And
I mean,
just like,
you can do whatever you want. I think you're excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's really, I think, I don't know. I think it's great that we can do whatever we want, but I also think that this whole like VA thing and working for yourself, it does come from a place of privilege. Like I know a lot of people who this isn't even on their radar, whether it's because of their skin color, their economic status in the world, just because of who knows why. It's just how it's turned out. So a big part of my business model in the future, when I start making more money, is like giving back. Like that for me is a huge thing. And well, one of your questions that will be part of, I mean, we could. we could.
Shall I go on to the next one?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so my next one was around the training thing, actually.
Yeah, so
is there any training which you would recommend?
Yeah, so I took Esther Inman's 90-day VA course, and I would recommend it. The things that she talks about and the coverage that you get with everything is, I didn't see it anywhere else online. I think it was like 400 USD.
Yeah.
And you get like lifetime access to the course. The course covers everything. I believe it's like 15 modules at least, and each module has like tons of stuff. And then you get 6 months in their like private group where you get like leads for jobs and connect with other people in the course. And I don't feel I'd be where I am without the course. And like, I know that if I need to go back and look at a training, I can. And she also like updates all the trainings. The course route isn't for everyone. So another option would be like, for example, with me, I do offer these intensives where we just go in there for like an hour and a half, and you ask me everything, and I give you all the stuff, the resources. So I know a few people that offer that as VAs, and I think maybe I would have done that. I think like one of your last questions, how do you source your clients? And so I found all my clients on Instagram or Facebook. My first client, or like I work in her agency was the woman who like introduced me to being a VA.
Okay.
And I just took a whim and was like, because she was looking for someone to do social media. And I was like, I know I'm new, but I'll do it. And now I've worked in her team for 4 months. So that was a really nice introduction. Everyone else I've met on, Instagram and Facebook, just by like getting into conversations. It's time consuming looking for clients. It can be. I mean, my hope is that going forward, I get clients through referrals. That would be really nice.
Yeah, exactly. You want to get to the point where you have some testimonials on there, and people can go to your site and look it up and be like, oh, okay, like she's being recommended. So and you get kind of word of mouth stuff going on, but you kind of have to set yourself up to a level before that happens.
And I've changed the direction of my company. My small business. And I now am offering nearly exclusively Pinterest and Instagram services. So that's also going to change who I'm going to, who I'm looking at, you know.
Cool.
And in terms of like invoicing and legal stuff, the legal stuff is not so complicated. You don't really need a you need a contract, you need an agreement, but I just found mine online.
Cool.
And it's nothing too scary, you know.
One thing which I have sort of considered, I guess, because my budget is lower, but there's a lot of these sort of women entrepreneur networks where you pay a monthly fee of like £15, £17, that sort of amount, and then you're part of like an inner circle
community.
Of women.
So you can actually
how do you
join.
feel about that? Do you think that's a worthwhile thing?
Yeah, I was part of one. I'm actually still, actually I'm not still part of one. It's like a way more expensive thing that I won. That's a good thing to enter giveaways, because I won in the course of a week, I won 2 giveaways that have really helped me. One was Social Incubator. Anyway, you pay monthly. I think it's a bit more than £15. I'm going to say it's more like £50, if not £100. And you're in a community with these women and you can ask whatever you need. They have weekly trainings, they have calls, you can hop on calls with them whenever you need because they have like office hours. Actually, Esther Inman, the course that I took, you can just pay to be part of the group as well. Like you don't have to be in the course, I don't think. Group was good because they had like you could connect with other people in the course and you could like see how you could get your feet wet by applying for jobs because they'd have like exclusive job postings and but no, like all of my leads and all of my clients I found on my own and I found on Facebook and Instagram.
And it's learning to sell for the first time. This is the other thing which is interesting. I was talking to my friend about it. He's trying to actually get into a completely different entrepreneurial path around properties and investment in properties and such. But I was just like, I kind of, even though I'm from a like marketing and communications and media background, I think a lot of people who don't know about that space, they quite often go, oh, okay, so you know sales. And I'm like, no, like sales scares me. Like that's, and I'm very aware of like not wanting to get into icky sales, as I would call it.
So when I was learning about being a VA, I was like, oh, is this multi-level marketing? Because I really didn't want to get into that. I didn't want to get into like, just not being scammy. I'm not a saleswoman. I'm finding it really hard to ask for sales from people. And I think maybe I've lost potential clients from not knowing how to close the sale, but I'm just learning, you know?
And I think you can maybe take it every call that you do, everything that you do, it is a learning experience, you know. Hopefully
Yeah.
both of us are getting a lot out of this call.
I
And
think
then
so.
the great thing about it is that then, you know, I'm then publishing it, and hopefully we're helping other people just on the internet, you know. And I love that, and that kind of feeds into that whole community aspect, which I'm so passionate about as well, which
Yeah.
I just think that's exciting. But it's I mean, for me, it was talking to my friend the other day, because you know, I kind of got a bit of a lead from someone who recommended me. And I initially jumped in with, oh, you know, do you want to pay me my hourly rate? Because in order to have our first phone call. And she was like, no, don't go in with that. Go in with, you know, let's have a chat. And then from that, then it will hopefully lead into, then you can start saying, I want the hourly rate for whatever. And but it's learning those skills, you know, and it's being like, okay, you know, I just want to talk to you. I want to be a nice person and learn about what you want to get out of this.
Yeah, there's a fine line between being nice and being like fierce and wanting, because it is a business. And so like I've had a lot of people lately wanting to do trades, which is fine, but I also am trying to be smart about it. And I'm like, is this gonna benefit me? And
I think it's about finding what is of value to you as well, because I know, you know, another friend who's a bookkeeper, and she was saying, you know, as she builds up that business, there's certain things, sometimes she doesn't get paid in money. Sometimes, like, for example, she does the books for a garage. And so basically both their cars get service and MOT.
Okay, that's perfect.
You know? And I'm just like, oh, that's so valuable. That's great. You know, and that kind of exchange is amazing, isn't it? Because it actually genuinely helps your monthly income.
Yeah. If I was doing socials for like a local business, a local restaurant, and they're like, you have free food for life, I'd be like, okay, no problem. Cool. I'm gonna do it all. Or if like I love soap, like handmade soap. If someone was like, listen, you have free soap for life, do my socials, I'd be like, we can talk about that. So yeah, it's all about what you feel comfortable with doing. Oh, I remember I was gonna say, in terms of like referrals, I learned, because I did like a mastermind with the same young woman that I work with and her team. She had a mastermind like month, and I enrolled in that. And we spoke a lot about the power of referrals, and how it's also, if you say to your clients, hey, like working with me actually pays you, because if you refer me and that person signs up for a set amount of time and it's successful, I'll give you an incentive.
Okay.
And so it's a really lovely way to keep the money circulating. People are helping you, you're helping them. And so I think that's a really good way to do it.
I guess because I'm sort of starting out in this sort of having leads space, I kind of feel like every time I potentially get a lead, and just to give you a metaphor, it's like someone's handed me a bubble to carry. I'm like, I don't want to pop it. Don't pop it. Don't pop it. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, damn it, you popped it. Oh, you know. How do you get out of that mindset where you're almost scared?
Question.
That's another thing in the Matthew McConaughey book, is he talks about how never approach a job opportunity like you need it. You just do it like you want it, not like you need it, because people can smell desperation a mile off. And I guess because I've always been a heart on my sleeve kind of girl, I struggle to find that balance where, you know, I don't want to come across as desperate.
Yeah, I think I did in the beginning. And maybe I haven't been on a sales call for a while, so maybe I would again. But I am starting to just try to be like easy with myself. And also, like one thing, and my client, he said this to me. He said, because I think we were on a call together, like talking to someone, and I said, I'm not gonna ask you for the sale, but, or like, this isn't a sales call. He said, Lauren, you should just say it's a sales call because you want the sale. So
Like,
just
own
say
it. Actually,
like own it and
okay.
just like, listen, we're all trying to make money. Don't be ashamed that you're selling your product that is going to benefit their life. It really is.
I think there is a masculine feminine aspect to that, in that
Yeah,
women
probably.
I don't know, do you follow Rachel Hollis at all?
I know her, but I don't follow her.
So she sort of talks about how we're just innately brought up as women to be small and to like be like, oh, sorry to trouble you, but
to fit in the shape
and all that. Whereas I think, unfortunately, men are not, you know, I know this is a sweeping statement, but men have less of that naturally, society-wise.
And
it's okay for them to ask for more money. It's okay for them to sell something. It's a more black and white scenario, whereas I just feel so like never, and then you get into the space equally where I'll say, oh, I want this amount, and they'll go, well, we can't pay you this, but we can give you the product. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much for working with me. You know?
And I was gonna say to you too is that, like, I'm getting out of working hourly, so my next step is working in packages.
Nice.
So that way, because you had mentioned, oh, like I said this is what, you know, I need hourly, and the person was like, so you just don't give them an option. Like, it sounds kind of cutthroat, and it is kind of, but you're providing a service. And so now I'm rolling out packages of my services, because I've just found myself in situations where I'm just working like a couple of hours a month for someone, and I'm like, this is a waste of time. Like, I can't do this.
I think the thing is, maybe it's kind of setting up your business in such a way where you have your bread and butter clients who cover your main wage. And you do it in that way, but maybe you do like the hourly stuff on the side as a little top up or a little boost of bonus. That might be quite good.
The thing that I've run into this problem a couple of times with previous clients is that at the end of the month, I said, okay, we're at this many hours, and they were like, oh, because they didn't realize how much time it would take to do certain tasks.
Right. So, and I guess that's a learning curve for you and for them.
Yeah, because for both of us.
Working out what the expectation is of, and I guess when you're learning how to do something, because something which I think is key is that, you know, whilst I've set these things up for my own business and setting them up for someone else's business, you don't know what the limitations of their technology they're providing you with, or like all the different things. So you've got to learn, you know, how long it actually takes for something to be done.
Well, and you know, like if it's a package and you're like, it's set amount, they pay you in advance, and then there's no confusion. In the end. And I think,
and then I guess you don't feel under pressure as well. Okay, so when you were working on, sorry, I'm going to go off on a slight tangent here, but I'm just interested. So when you were working on the hourly rate basis, how did you get paid up front, or did you invoice once a month, or how?
So I'm still working on an hourly wage basis with pretty much all of my clients at the moment. But going into the new year, like, this is what's changing, not necessarily with them, but with like new clients that I take on. And I do just invoice once a month. Yeah, I physically like write.
And do you kind of let them know as you're going along, right, I've done X amount of hours per day? Because the VA who I'm working with, she kind of actually, she only does, currently she dives into and does some broken links for me, like kind of a few times a week, but she'll do a few minutes at a time, and then at the end of the month she'll invoice me. So it would literally be like half an hour, 40 minutes a month, which is what I need and why I have the sort of capacity for at the moment. But she usually checks in with me each week when she checks into my site, and she'll go, okay, I've just dived in, I've come across this and this, I've been in for this amount of time. So do you think that's kind of good in terms of keeping the lines of communication?
So the first month I worked with a couple of people, and with one of them we had already established what we'd be doing. The other, we established it, but it was like a trial period, and then that's when it ended up being more than she had anticipated. So going into December, we like outlined the hours, and that was what we were doing. And same with my other client, we just outlined, this is what needs to be done, this is the cost of what you're doing. And I think going forward, we're just going to have like a monthly budget that I work within. It won't necessarily be timed. So this is a retainer that you have goals to do, and like, you know how much time needs to go into them, and you just work within that budget. Yeah.
Oh, it is such a learning curve. It's so many different things.
I'm still learning so much. I am by no means an expert, but I also don't want to disrespect myself. I'm becoming an expert, and I'm like, at least by month, or like every 2 months or so, I'm investing in my growth as a service provider.
Yeah, I think the older I get, the more I kind of think, well, there are just my kind of people and not my kind of people, and you don't have to get on with everyone. And how wonderful to like work with people who do get you.
Oh my God.
How that lights you up, and how, because they value you and they see you. I think that's like a really wonderful thing. And I think
it's so wonderful.
Have you read Big Magic yet? You need to. So that's
Big Magic.
Yeah, by Elizabeth Gilbert.
No.
So she's the woman who wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay.
And if you don't follow her on Instagram, do it immediately, because she's amazing. She's awesome. But Big Magic, it was her first non-fiction book. And it's all about the art of creative living and how we're all creators. And she's actually stemmed off into a podcast called Magic Lessons, where she's talking to people. I mean, you'd love that podcast as well. She's just talking to people who are, you know, stuck in a corporate job or something, but they have this side thing which they love, but they don't know how to invest in it. And she interviews them, and then she has a call with like one of her friends who's an expert in that area, and then they listen in on that, and then they've got to like learn what they've got to do. And then by the end of the podcast, like the podcast is like 1 hour, and so within that podcast she's interviewed the sort of normal person who's had this situation and the expert in the middle, and then goes back for the follow-up with the person and like, what have you learned, what have you written, how have you done this? And it's just so, if you need an uplifting podcast, if you're having a down day, Magic Lessons, honestly, it's amazing.
I'll check it out for sure.
But she's it's just this kind of thing that I kind of took ownership after reading that book, of being like, hey, you know, I'm a creative soul looking for other creative souls. And I love that, because I don't have to define myself as being one type of creativity. You know, maybe that manifests as being into yoga, maybe that manifests as loving to dance, maybe just that manifests, you know, maybe I want to draw art one day, I don't know, you know. It can manifest at a different point in your life. But what's so lovely is she says, when you don't have a definite path of what you want to do next, and always investigate the root of curiosity and start doing something you find curious, and then that might lead to something else. And I just love that whole concept. It's just
that's like, I just started making soap because I love soap, and then I was like, oh, I can make it. So I've made about 3 batches in the last 2 weeks, and it's brought me joy. And like, I just don't have right now like a lot of passions going on in my life. And so this is one of them. So when the sun's out, I set out my little soap making floor set up outside, and like, yeah, it's just really rewarding. And it's like, oh, not only do I get to control who I work with, I get to control what I put on my body.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
made it.
Love it. And you're helping the environment too. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. And obviously I'm all about that. So no, it's great. You're totally right about curiosity, and just it comes down to expression, like creative expression in whatever way. And for some people that might be math. Maybe that's creative for them. I don't know. Yeah. But no, it's
and the
exciting.
fact that it can change throughout your life as well. You don't have to do one set thing. No. And I think certain things can feed you at certain points in your life.
And like you said before, just the generations before us, how it was like, all right, you go to school and you become this thing, and that's what and who you are.
Yeah.
It's not.
It doesn't have to be that way anymore. Yeah. I love that.
It can be if you want. Like, a lot of people thrive on being a nurse or thrive on being a cop, and we need those services.
It's very sensible. And I'm from a family of people who have had that route. My dad's an accountant. He's retired now. My mum was a teacher. My sister's a behavior analyst. My other sister's a nurse. So they all have kind of set things which they do, and they all have picked careers which people always need. And I look at that now and I'm like, why didn't I do that? Like, why didn't? But and with the benefit of hindsight, I do wish that potentially I did graphic design in college rather than media production, because
but media production can benefit you now too.
100%.
Totally. And like,
I mean,
I'm glad that now.
I'm glad I have started this vlog, and it's very much in its infancy at the moment. I've got like 60 followers, but
I'll subscribe.
Oh, thank you. Bless your heart. I kind of love that actually, if I went back and talked to 16-year-old me, what I wanted to do was be a TV presenter. So wouldn't it be a beautiful thing if I did actually kind of make it on YouTube? Because I would have actually achieved that goal of 16-year-old me without having to work for one of the big production companies in London. So
YouTube is different. YouTube is definitely a self-momentum kind of growth place, although people can randomly come across your content, of course, but it's so saturated now. Like,
what I've been trying to because I do quite a lot of product testing. So now I've got into I'll do an unboxing video, and that will be the first thing I do with people. And then that will be included in the blog post. And then
I saw you did a wild review or unboxing. I'll watch them after for sure.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Right. I'm aware that I've been keeping you forever. So I'm just
okay. We can get through these questions.
Yeah, we will.
We will. I'll just answer them and we'll move on.
Okay, let's do that. Do that. What has drawn you to specialize into working with eco companies?
Okay, well, I mean, I think from everything else I've said, you can see that I try to live a pretty eco-friendly lifestyle myself. Way before it was popular, I feel like I was doing it. I've definitely gained more awareness in the last 2 to 3 years. And so it's a journey. But when I was trying to find my niche, which everyone's like, you need a niche, which I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I just thought, I definitely want to work with, I didn't know the word ecopreneurs before, but I wanted to work with people who were, in their own little way, doing good for the earth. Yeah, whether it was educating people about how to live differently and alternatively, whether it was people selling a product that can help you live better, just in any way, really. I don't specify in a certain company, I only work with clothing brands. I only work with this. I work with anyone who deems themselves an eco type related.
I love that. And that's kind of the space I'm in. And I kind of add into that the well-being stuff as well. So anyone who's in like yoga or alternative therapies and everything like that, I'm interested in working with them too.
Same.
You know,
anyone, because
I love how there's a crossover between those two kind of areas.
it's so important. And we are the planet is us. So our health, it completely contributes to how we're going to treat the planet. If we're feeling shitty, if we're feeling down, if we're feeling like not loving ourselves, we're not going to love the planet, just like we're not going to show the love to our kids or our spouse. So it's the same thing.
Absolutely. It's so true. It's so true. So I did have one question in here in terms of how many clients do you have, and how many clients would you suggest you need in order to have the kind of sustainable income?
Well, because I'm off for the month, but I'm still doing a bit of English, like 9 to 10 hours a week, which still kind of eats up some major time, in my opinion. I have I have 4 going on 5 clients. I'll be onboarding someone new in the next week. But I think ideally I want to grow to kind of like a mini agency. So I'll have a couple of people working with me, providing different services that I don't necessarily provide. And then
that's kind of your goal going forward. That's what you want.
I'd like 10 to 20 ongoing clients.
Okay, so what VA skills do you specialize in?
Yes. So I think I briefly mentioned earlier that I'm going more into just providing Pinterest support. So that's scheduling, pin creation, Pinterest management, SEO, and then of course, just simple engagement. So, I mean, not simple, it's not simple, but engagement, post scheduling. I don't create content, but I create captions, and I do hashtag research as well, which there is more of a method than people think. I just invested a little bit of money in a webinar about a friend's strategy that she sells and that she has coined, and it's done really well. And it works. So her name's Ask Anya Media, and she's like the hashtag queen. So yeah, just Instagram and Pinterest. But like, if people come to me and have something that they want and I can do, I'll do it. But it's not necessarily up on my website.
The other really positive thing about this whole culture of community is actually it's okay to ask for help. And you're not being lazy by asking for help.
No.
You're just focusing in on what lights you up and what you're capable of doing. And that's a great thing.
Yeah. And you're getting help doing it and spreading the word. So it's important. I'm just going to see how the year goes, because I know that it can't fail. Like I'm feeling, and even if it does, that's just part of life, and then I'll figure something else out. But I'm just excited to see how it grows organically in the outer universe. Come find me at Your Eco Assistant. I've gotten active in like the meetups and stuff, so one of my big clients, is my Plastic Free Family Feud, Brad.
Okay, yeah, I think like
this man, he's everywhere. He's and we met through the meet, and I just feel connected to him. We get along really well. He's a cool guy. He's a cool eco dude. He has the eco dudes, hang out. And yeah, I just think, wow, had I not met Brad, or had I not met people that I've met through the meetups, yourself included, because that's where we connected, and it's just such a great space, whether it turns into work or not.
And I'm so glad I kind of stumbled across the whole meetup thing, because again, I kind of initially I found out about it. I think I found a Meet a Mummy Friday or something, and I was like, meetups, because like obviously there's the kind of underground thing which people don't like to talk about, of like looping and loops and doing Instagram loops and stuff, and The thing is, like, people quite often, in order to grow their account, they get into that for a while, and I did. But every time I did one, I literally just felt icky. And I was just like, this is totally quantity over quality. You know, you are just getting all these people you're following, and they're not necessarily following you back. And it's all in
well, they're not your niche. They're not people that you want to be talking to. And
exactly. And then I stumbled across this meetup idea, and I was like, okay, so there's like Meet a Mummy meetups. Okay. Yeah. So I just kind of like literally put in the search like eco meetups and came up, and I was just like, oh my God, this is a thing. And it's like literally changed my life in the last 6 months. And I've met so many cool people. And then I've started my own one and my own wellness one, because I didn't actually find that there were any other wellness ones. So I've got Wellness Wednesday and Sustainability Sunday. I think I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. No, it's been absolutely lovely. Where do people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Your Eco Assistant, on Pinterest at Your Eco Assistant. You can find me on Facebook, Lauren Elan, and just feel free to follow me, send me a message. I love to connect and meet people in not just the eco realm, anyone, or if you're looking to know more about living more in harmony with Mother Earth, give me a follow, give me a message. I look forward to it.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for your time. And
thank you, Jill.
To meet you and talk to you.
Okay, bye, Jill. Happy
care.
Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Have a lovely Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
If you enjoyed this video, please do hit subscribe and help support me in growing my eco lifestyle brand. So if you would like to collaborate with jamjarjill.com, please drop me a line, Jill with a G at jamjarjill.com. I'd absolutely be interested in how you would like to work with me. I do product testing, I do 10-question interviews. I'm also open to any other sort of collaboration as I grow my eco and wellbeing lifestyle brand. So I look forward to hearing from you. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon.